Hello and welcome to Four Little Bears. Today I've got another MSB for you, the Mega Stash Buster 4. We're going to take 5 sheets of cardstock and we can turn this into 36 cards, including 2 sets of special cards. Today I'll go through the cut file of that and there will be a free PDF linked below. I hope you guys enjoy this one. To start out, I'm just going to go ahead and run through 2 of these special card bases to show you how they're done. They're pretty easy. We just need an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and we're going to score that at 5.5 on the 11-inch side. This is going to make 2 top fold card bases. Then we'll just cut that in half at 4 1/4 on the 8.5-inch side to create 2 of them. So for card number 1, we'll need to make 4 of these, and we need to cut 1 1/4 inches up to the fold line on either side of the card front. And this will make a vertical spanner card. To do that, I just line that up in my trimmer at 1 1/4 inch. And then I just pay attention to the little lines on my trimmer as to when I get close to the fold. And if you're uncomfortable doing it with the trimmer, of course, just use scissors. Then we'll just remove that center piece. And this is what becomes the horizontal brace for the vertical spanner. So there's very little wastage in this card. Moving on to card number 2 and how we make that one. We'll also need to make 4 of these, and they start off the exact same way, but when you get to splitting, you'll need to cut at 3 inches and then 1 inch. And then this little piece I'm going to save for sentiment strips because I'll end up cutting another little piece to fill that spanner section that is about 2 by 3. Wasting no time and starting off with the cutting, I decided to do these in the colors of the cut file for you guys and thought maybe that would help clarify which pieces were going on to which cards later on. So you'll notice this cut file has some different instructions. I have labeled the green lines 1, 2, 3, and so on, because there's some difficult cuts here, and I wanted to make sure you guys have the best chance possible at making these work. So for the 1/8 inch cuts on card number 7, I'm going to leave those as long as they are. I'm not going to go ahead and trim those down. That way I can trim them down on the card later. Then still working with that piece, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that it's the right width and then cut down the length at 5 inches for card number 8. And that I'm actually going to set aside and not go ahead and finish those cuts until I have all of them that are for card number 8. So I'll just continue on then and cut the rest of this down. This little section does have a few scraps, but there's not too many. And then this little section for card number 9, it can be a little tricky to get those tiny 1/4 inch cuts. I didn't do it here. I should have, because some of my cuts are a little wonky. But if you need to, you can actually use a piece of washi tape to tape down your piece where it needs to go, so that when you lift your trimmer arm, it's not flying all over the place. And then don't forget to go ahead and put these little pieces in an envelope where they belong as soon as you can, so you don't forget where they go. On the left, I'm kind of highlighting the section that you're working on right now. All I do is I kind of break it into sections as I'm cutting. That way I know kind of where I'm putting things later, and it just makes it easier to work with. You'll also notice some little arrows in your cut files, and those indicate the direction of the papers once you put them on the card base. So kind of keep that in mind when you're picking directional papers. This one's actually a pretty good one for that. You don't have too many that are going to go a weird direction. If at any point this is going too fast for you, go ahead and turn off the volume so I don't sound horrible. I wouldn't sound like a mouse. I would sound slower, so like a giant maybe, like a monster. But anyway, yeah, turn off the sound so I don't sound like a monster, and just go ahead and slow it down however much you need to. I went ahead and sped this up to like 1.5 times so that this video wouldn't take a long time. But yeah, if for any reason you need to slow it down, go ahead. And let me know in the comments, is the visual on the left-hand side, is that something that's helpful to you guys? Can you sort of tell what's going on better? Is it too small and you can't tell anyway? What do you think? Also, I should have mentioned earlier, for card number 6, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm not going to cut those angles into card number 6 until I have all of the colors for that. So until I have designer paper 1, 2, 3, and 4 for both cards numbers 8 and 6. Starting with designer paper 2, I will go ahead and cut that down to 4 inches to start with. And again, pay attention to directionality here. They're mostly facing upwards in this pattern. But there are a few that are going to go sideways. And then I'm just going to follow the guide and cut on the green lines in the order they say to cut them. So following 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for these green cut lines. Again, just to kind of help you so that you don't do what I did and slice off something you weren't supposed to slice off. I'll just zoom in here on this one so it's a little bit bigger to cut off those 1/8 inch sections. This is the one that I sliced. I went ahead and cut that at 5 and was like, oh shoot, I just cut my 1/8 inch sections too short. So I don't know, hopefully that's helpful. Again, I'm just setting those 2 to the side. That will make up card number 8. There are quite a few of these little 1/2 inch cuts in here. So keep that in mind, and another reminder to put those away into the folders in which they go right away so you don't get confused where they go later. Again, not that I've done that. Actually, with this set, I definitely, when I was putting them together, realized that there were several that had ended up in the scrap pile on accident. So maybe just don't get rid of your scrap pile until it's done. Luckily, I don't get rid of my scraps ever, so I still had them. It's always a good point to check also just to make sure you've got the piece you think you have. Um, that's what I was doing right there. I was checking the width to make sure I had it the right direction before I start cutting that 1 1/4 cuts. In that first section there, I'll do my same trick for card number 6 and keep that aside with the pink one. And that's a little scrap piece there then. Luckily, all those little bitty guys go into card number 7, so go ahead and put that with the card number 7 pile you've got going on. Or envelope. And if you've never done one of these before, A through D, so 7A through 7D, they're going to represent the 4 cards that get made for card number 7. There are 9 card designs, and each one has 4 cards in its set. So you don't have to do A, B, C like I have it written out. You can mix and match as you want to. I do that all the time once I have my patterns down and I actually see what they look like together. Go ahead and mix and match as you please. But for my own sanity and keeping track and making sure I have everything down, I just go ahead and I make sure I've got it listed out 7A through D to make sure I've got all the pieces for each card. And a lot of times, too, if you're using double-sided paper, it's a really good opportunity. You can have multiple choices per card design. Rinse and repeat with designer paper 3. A lot of these are pretty similar cuts here. Not the same, so be careful on some of them, but they're similar. So again, I'll just go ahead and start with the number 1 green line at 4 inches. And then 4 inches again. And then I'll go ahead and cut the number 3 line by cutting off both of these 1/2 inch strips right here. And then this is the important one. You need to cut for the 4th green line. So basically, I'll just cut all of these 3/4 by 4 inch pieces for 9 A and C. And then I can go ahead and cut off my 1/8 inch strips without affecting any of the other cuts. Again, keeping aside the 8 pieces and the 6 pieces, or the card 8 and card 6 pieces, keeping those to the side so that I can cut them together. And again, just double check before you do your cuts and make sure you've got the right width so that you're cut in the right direction. Center section is pretty easy. I'm going to start with the top, cutting off that 4 3/4 slice. Then I need to cut it at the bottom piece, the 3 by 2. Then flip it for that 1 by 5 1/4 piece. Again, make sure I've got the right measurement here because there will be some scrap. And then cut those down to 1 3/4 for that center section. For card 5, we have some 1 by 4 3/4 pieces at the top here. Setting aside that piece for card 6. And then cutting off the piece for 9A, 4 3/4. This is the bottom piece, that's going to be 2 by 3. And again, flip to the side for that 1 by 5 1/4 piece for card number 1. And again, all of these little 1/2 inch pieces go into card number 7. These are the ones that I lost in my scrap pile. I wasn't sure how these were going to turn out. I did it just so that you guys could see, how the papers were going to fit together and maybe help you choose your patterns. Um, but I'm really excited about how these came out. I think I might do this every time for the Mega Stash Busters because, hey, it's good for you guys. You can visually see what I'm doing on each page, but it also turned out really cute. Way cuter than I expected. All right, almost last. So for this dark purple here, I didn't have any dark purple, so I'll use blue instead. And I'm turning that sideways to cut the first piece. Again, you want to pay attention to your pattern of your paper if that matters to you on any of these. But these cuts are a lot more straightforward than the other ones. It only gets easier as they go along. The yellow sheet is the easiest. Let me know in the comments too, do you guys want me to slow this down even more and just do it 1-to-1 speed and maybe make 5 different videos that's a 1-to-1 speed? I don't want to make a giant video, that would be really long, but I could slow it down to 5 separate videos if that would appeal to anybody. Let me know. You can also message me on Facebook if you want to. I'm 4 Little Bears. I think I'm 4 Little Bears Gifts on Facebook. Let me double check that. Definitely click the link below or in my bio to make sure you've got the right page. But yeah, 4 Little Bears. Do be careful on your 1/2 inch strips on this page and make sure we're putting them in the correct envelope. We've got a lot of them that go in 7, but some that go into 4 also. So just be careful on those because they're the same measurement. They're 3 by a 1/2 inch. If you've been here a while, you'll know that this is a new trimmer for me. I got really tired of not being able to find blades for my other trimmer. I loved it a lot, but I just couldn't always find blades when I needed them. So I thought I would try this one, and I am really enjoying having the scorer and trimmer combo. I didn't think I would, but I do. And also, I feel like I get better. This might not be for everyone, but for me personally, I feel like my cuts are more accurate. That might just be because of the way it's labeled. I'm not sure. Part of it too is because I'm looking, kind of backwards and sideways so that you guys get a good front down view without my head in the middle of it. Uh, but somehow I'm able to line it up better. That goes for why I can't align things properly on the cards too. I have to get kind of used to not looking straight down at something is harder than it sounds like. So I just cut off that piece for 9D, that's 4 3/4. And then I'll go ahead and separate it to 3 inches. And on the 4-inch piece, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the pieces for card 3 that are 4 inches by a 1/2 inch. Then I can cut this down to 3 inches and flip it back around and cut my 3-inch by 1/2 inch pieces. And again, just be careful which card base these are going in. The 3 by 1.5 here, I'll go into card 4, and the ones that are 4 by 1/2 go into card 3. All right, at this middle section, I've already cut my 3/4 by 4 inch piece off, so I can just cut this down to 1/2 inch strips now. Again, just double check, measure, make sure you're cutting on the right side. And then all of these go into card number 7, and I would recommend going ahead and putting these in card number 7 right away. Hey, we're on the last one, and it's the easiest one. I only gave you the normal green cut line here because it's pretty easy. And then I went ahead and I cut it at a different one, but it doesn't matter here because you just need 3 sections that are 4 inches by 12. So cut it by 4 inches and then 4 inches again. So starting with the most difficult side, which isn't really even that difficult. Go ahead and cut off the pieces for card number 1 at the bottom. And then I'll do my 1/2 inch slices for card number 3. And my 1 1/8. I know these are a little weird with the 1 1/8 inch, but I tried to be careful and not put too many 1/8 of an inch cuts in here, but this one just worked out better at 1 1/8. And you'll see why when the card comes together later. There's a little bit of scrap on that piece, so I'll cut that off. And cut these down to 3 by 2 inches each. And double check that that's correct. And for the last two pieces, you could do these together if your paper is thin enough or if your trimmer will handle it, because they are the exact same cuts. You'll do 4 by 5 1/4 twice, and then what's left over will be 4 by 1 1/2. And again, just go ahead and put your pieces into your cards or your envelopes, or however you're going to do that. Then I'm going to come back and finish up these cuts for card number 6 and 8. So the first thing I'm going to do here is place this at a diagonal. Now for me, it doesn't matter which way I put this in because I don't have any directionality on my card base. If your trimmer can handle it, definitely cut them all at the same time. Now I'm just going to fold one of these in half here so that I can see where I want my cut line to be. That way you don't really have to measure, just fold it in half. And then line that up on your trimmer edge and go ahead and cut that apart. For card number 8, it's very similar. I want to fold that in half to find the center on the left-hand side. And then I'm going to put them all together and cut from the bottom right corner to the center in the left edge. And then from that left edge center point, back up to the top right corner. Again, check your patterns before doing this so you don't get them upside down. And if you do, no big deal. Flip it around. It doesn't matter which side the point is on. Now again, I just want to get that center mark for both the top and bottom, and I'll line it up with my little fold line and the point. If you can keep these together, that would be best. That way when you put the cards together, you can always put the exact same pieces where they go, just different colors. Does that make any sense? That way if your cuts aren't perfect, it'll still line up. And see, mine didn't cut through the very last one, so I'll have to kind of reline that guy up. And that was all. Again, I'll put a link in the description, and there will be a putting together guide coming up soon, and I'll show you how to put all those together. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. I hope you guys have an amazing day. As always, guys, stay safe, stay blessed, and have an amazing week. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Every little bit helps. Thanks.